There's a phrase that is said a lot, so much so that at this point it's more of a cliche than a phrase, and that's that chivalry is dead. This is something that I agree with. I think chivalry is dead. Here's where my opinions start to differ a little bit, right? I think it should stay dead. I don't think we should resurrect chivalry. I think we should leave it being dead. I think when most people say chivalry is dead, what they're referring to is a lack of common courtesy between your fellow human, and that's true, I witness that from time to time, but what chivalry really is a code of politeness that people live by. Back in late Middle Ages, chivalry was a literal, actual code that knights had to live by, right? Of being courteous, of being polite. Mainly being courteous and polite to women, but you know. And I don't think politeness and being nice to people should be like a requirement. It kind of ruins the whole thing. Take your mind for a second to Walmart on Christmas Eve, okay? Walmart on a Christmas Eve is like the saddest place you could possibly be, because you have people just walking along really stressed out and really miserable because they have to get gifts for people, because they have to do it. It shouldn't be about that. You should give gifts to people because you want to give gifts to people, in the same way that you should be nice to people because you want to be nice to people, not because it's required of you. I personally believe that the motivation behind doing a nice thing is a lot more important than the doing of the nice thing itself. Because doing something polite for someone because you feel like you have to is like building a house and forgetting to decorate the interior. You just have like a shell of a house. It's not a real, it doesn't feel real. I personally feel a lot more rewarded when I do something nice for someone, when I really genuinely want to do that nice thing, not when I feel like I have to do that nice thing. It's kind of like reading a book for school, right? Back in high school, I had to read 1984 for an English class, and I found the experience to be so miserable, because there's like requirements of pages you had to read every single night, and I did not enjoy the experience at all, didn't enjoy the book at all. Fast forward to now, I'm currently reading 1984 again, because I want to, and I'm loving it. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba! I'm loving it. The book is getting read in both of these scenarios, but in only one of these scenarios is pure actual enjoyment from literary excellence being had. But to kind of bring it back to the subject at hand, I think most people say chivalry is dead because they see a lot of lack of common courtesy amongst other humans. They see that. But I don't think you should expect people to be nice to you, in the same way that you shouldn't expect people to be mean to you. You should expect people to be indifferent towards you because they don't know you. Most people don't know you. And the baseline of feelings towards another person is no feelings, is apathy, indifference. That's why it's so upsetting when a stranger gets mad at you, and it's also so amazing when a stranger does something nice for you, because you're not expecting it. You shouldn't expect people to be nice. I think in general, we have a tendency to project our own negativity upon the world in which we find ourselves, right? I do this all the time. I do it all the time. For example, when I'm working, sometimes somebody will come in and they'll already be really stressed out or really angry right off the bat, and they'll project that anger onto me, and that just gets me flustered, and it creates so much more negativity than there needs to be. It's almost like we go back and forth between expecting too much of each other and expecting too little of each other, when in fact we really should expect nothing from each other. And nothing's okay, nothing is fine. And expecting nothing from people isn't bad. Like, I feel like that has a negative connotation, and it really shouldn't, because, like, think about interacting with any random stranger. Like, what do you owe them? You don't owe them anything, and that's not a bad thing, it's just the way things are, it's the way it is. And that lack of expectation makes it a lot nicer when some stranger does something nice for you, just because they want to do something nice, not because they're required to do so. So basically, that's my opinions on chivalry. Right, we live in a world where a code of politeness is kind of unnecessary, and it also kind of defeats the purpose of being polite. Not to mention the inherent sexism of a lot of people's interpretation of chivalry, meaning that you should do nice things for a woman purely because they're a woman, not because it's a nice thing to do. But that's a whole nother topic. As always, I'm curious as to what you guys think about all of this stuff about being nice to people. I think you should just be nice to people just to be nice to that person, not because you have to or feel obligated to, because you're like, yeah, I want to do something nice because it'll make me feel good, and it'll make this person's day a little bit better. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go now. As always, I'm Connor Manning. You've just become a little more awesome, and I will see you guys on Friday. Here's a fun fact. This keyboard right here doesn't work. Doesn't work. Even if I wanted it to work, it wouldn't work. Plug don't work. Keyboard don't turn on. This has been Fun Facts with Connor.